morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Fanvil. Today's host is Tommy Lee, and he is their Vice President of Sales in North America, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Tommy will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Tommy, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you for the introduction, Julie. I appreciate everybody's time here. Today is going to be a brief presentation to really introduce you to some of our H-series communications as well as intercoms that we use in our business. One of the pleasures that I'm going to have today, which will be something unique, is I'm also going to share a roadmap, because I'm going to introduce to you some of the things that we're going to have coming down over the next month or two that's going to give you a big reveal on what we're going to be showing for 2022. So having said that, let me go ahead and move forward and really kind of show you how Fanvil differentiates itself from the competition as we move forward. As you know, Fanvil is really a endpoint manufacturer, so all we do is build SIP endpoints. And one of the things, as I mentioned in the title screen, is in the hospitality market, which is one of the market segments that we do besides business, is that we introduce not only just telephones, which is really our most popular line, but we have a very unique set of telephones. We have really 3 different lines, and I'll go into details. We have lines here that can actually show you lines that can go into every room, as well as the narrowband phones, which is really just a 2-SIP line that could go into bathrooms, or really any application that has a real need for a small real estate, that you can actually pick up a basic 2-line telephone system here. So not only can it go into bathrooms in hospitality markets, but beyond phones, we could also support other items, as well as being able to support the front console. You know, very often we have a telephone here that actually has about 160 buttons all located on a single panel. And because we have it on a single panel, it makes it very easy for the people that integrate this thing into hospitality to go ahead and integrate this solution, so they have all the different rooms on the one platform that they can also do. But what makes Fanvil a little bit different is, besides phones, we also provide a lot of security and relay control and security access that are all SIP-based as well. One of the things I wanted to bring forth is really our announcements or broadcast systems, because within every single hospitality unit, you find things that you have to kind of communicate with. So take, for example, I'm sure many people who have stayed in hospitality have stayed in parking garages. They were stuck behind the screen. What do you do when you go ahead and have to upgrade that kiosk when you move from an old analog system into a SIP-based system? You're not going to change the gate, because that costs way too much, but what you can do is to convert that gate or the elevator or any part that communicates with audio into SIP by incorporating the the Fanvil PA2. And what we do here is that we go ahead and actually incorporate it and convert SIP into a way that outputs the analog into whatever internal speaker or what amplifier that you might have internal with it. And beyond that, we also have some remote entrance intercoms that you could also provide that will actually give you single button remote access to really the back door or anything moving forward. So really, it's really a wide spectrum of a lot of different endpoints, but most of the people concentrate on phones. But what we do is give you that capability of offering a widespread solution application beyond just telephones. As I talked about the telephones before, we could really divide our solutions into several different categories. So we have not only the intercoms that I talked about earlier, but we also have door access systems. And these door access systems enable any staff or employee to be able to swipe out an RFID key fob or a card that gives you the capability of being able to go ahead and enter. Now, you could have a local or remote key IDs where you want to track the entrance and exiting of employees, staff, or even have a master password where you can remotely call into this device on a smartphone and be able to provide remote access. And all of these devices contain a camera. So it really does give you a lot of flexibility in being able to expand on that. And then we provide little things like indoor stations. And what indoor stations really is really it's a phone without a handset. And why do we say that? Because very often many people cosmetically don't want to have a phone hanging off their wall. They want to have something that's a flat screen that provides good video access so you can see who's at the door, whether it's the postal person or whether or not, is it a friend or a foe before the entrance, before you press one of these keys to enable to get in. Now, at the same time, you could also use this as a telephone tool as well, because you could enter in several different SIP addresses and use these things as a wireless SIP phone. And by the way, Wi-Fi is also included on this thin device, and it gives you another way to access communications in that way as well. Tying all of these different endpoints into one solution is that Fanvil also offers a device management system as well. And this device management system can work in conjunction with a lot of the PBX providers that you might be working with, that can work as an active or a passive role, depending on what type of provisioning scheme that you have, that you can have this device give you that remote capability of resetting a device or being able to find remote diagnostic capabilities from a remote location. I mean, let's face it, when you go ahead and deploy this in a school atmosphere or in hospitality, not many people on the other side of the phone knows what you're talking about when you say, can you give me the IP address of the phone? So what this does is it gives you that remote capability of being able to go in and provide remote diagnostics, and gives you that little bit of management tool on top of whatever provisioning server that your cloud service provides. So it really is an overall solution. And in addition, we provide this service free of charge to all of our partners that decide to go with our solution as well. Now let's dig into a little bit more detail. And obviously, because when you're putting in these solutions in the hospitality market, you have a lot of different color schemes and everything, that we have all solutions in both black and white. We have the classic templated solutions, where it's probably most of the hotels that you're going into. But one design that we have that's very much gaining steam is the ability to have a phone that has a soft color screen. And what that does for the integrators is it allows the integrator to be able to upload whatever hotel logo they can right on the screen itself. So under one platform, without having to develop a customized template to fit over the classic phones, you can actually upload all the different function keys as you wish and dynamically put that. So if you need a spare phone to replace a damaged phone, you can really do that very simple with one thing. And the great thing that we did moving forward is with our new W series. So we have the H5W, which gives you that capability of connecting to Wi-Fi as well. So in the past, we used to only connect to SIP, but we have a new Wi-Fi series that came out, which now gives you the capability of being able to connect to any Wi-Fi hotspot in most hospitality situations. So that gives you a lot of flexibility in how you can connect, and we have it both in black and white. This is also available as well in the Wi-Fi, so both of these things offer the capability of Wi-Fi connectivity. Now let's just talk about the main core phones, because very often people in the front desk or in the offices don't necessarily need a hospitality phone that's very dedicated to very simple operations. But in this case, we've really cored down our offerings into 4 separate categories. We have really the baseline phone that really offers really everything you need for really a basic dial tone type of usage. And as you go up into different models, we get to add on different types of functions, where the X4U is one of our most popular phones that offer all the main capabilities by also saving you $1 without necessarily spending any more on the features that you may or may not need for your application. And as you move forward, the X5U and X6U, obviously for here, we get to add Bluetooth internal within the phone, and as well as with the X6U, we obviously provide a lot more BLF keys so that they can go ahead and contact all these people. And the real unique design about this, I'll get into the next slide, but the good news is that they all contain what we consider the baseline features. They all support GigE, color, PoE, Opus codecs in case you have low bandwidth, key port solution. And in addition to that, another differentiator is that all these phones support a 2-year warranty. Most of the phones out there that you find going in only support 1 year. We double that warranty into 2. So that provides you with a lot of things that'll give you a good peace of mind moving forward. I talked about some differentiation, and now when I look at the way this has been designed, I've always received comments that these phones look very much like the old legacy phones, where you replace an old Nortel or Panasonic phones, that all of the keys are lined up here, but you can manage your key servers right here on the left-hand side, where if you have to assign a park key or something like that, you can occupy a separate screen while leaving all of these different keys open and not interfere with all the different rooms that you might have or different contacts that you may want to go in. In addition to some differentiation, you also have local support from the manufacturer. Not only can you speak to me, which is locally based here in the States, but we also have a local SE that you have access to. And for many people that have on-site deployments, you actually have local expertise that you can go ahead and do that. Now, a nice little feature that we have is what we call SIP hotspot. And what SIP hotspot really does is it provides you the capability of assigning one phone. Not only is it just with our business phone, but it also exists within our hospitality phones as well. In our H5W as well as the H3W, you can assign that a single extension going into one room. Say you got into room 305 and you have one extension that goes into one phone, but you have that master phone be the master for all of the other slave phones that you might have in the bathroom or in the auxiliary guest room or at the desk, so that from a management perspective, you don't necessarily have to assign a group ring, but you could just assign one extension and have that one phone ring on all the different phones, and the first one to pick up will go ahead and pick up those things as well. And in terms of quality, of course, we upgraded all of these phones, especially the XU phones primarily, into Harman type speaker phones, which really bring out the quality from an audio perspective on the speaker phone. Obviously, I talked a little bit about having the X210. This is a design very unique to Fanvil, where we've gone ahead and actually put all the BLF keys. We don't necessarily have extension modules on our phones. We decided to go a different route and incorporate. If you need an extension module, you might as well put it on one platform, which really saves a lot on cost, because you build it on one board with only one firmware style, and you have about 106 different DSS keys all in one operation, and has all the different features that I talked about before. Now, I mentioned earlier about a roadmap, and this is an introduction to what we call our V series. How do these V series differentiate amongst the XU? Don't get me wrong, both of these series will be supported moving forward. This is just in addition to, and we're beginning to bring these things over into the States, available March of 2022. And the big differentiator is not only the updated design that we have, but we also have integrated Wi-Fi as well. We also found out that a lot of people decide to go ahead and purchase these phones and work remotely. Not everybody has a PoE switch in their office where they would like it to be, but they do have Wi-Fi access. So everywhere from the baseline phone all the way moving forward, we have integrated Wi-Fi. And in addition, on the top two, we've actually integrated some antibacterial plastics to make them avoid spreading viruses and everything like that. And we all know how serious these type of things are. So we incorporated that in some of the plastic designed into our high-end phones here. And as well, we also increased the local conferences. Very often people are still old school in being able to host the conferences within the phone. And we brought it up from 3 to now you can host up to 6 to 10 party local conferences, depending on the type of calls that you want to do. And you could just call in and bring in one after the other. Of course, you can do this under a conference call through your PBX or whatever third-party service you might have. But doing this gives you that level of flexibility and being able to conference in up to 6 to 10 calls on the one phone, which is great. So it's got a lot of the different horsepower to be able to do that. And right now, we're beginning to roll these out as samples, and you should be able to see these in the channels effective March of 2022. That kind of ends it with our phones, and I'm just going to kind of merge into some of the phones that we have on the intercom and door access solutions. Something we've been marketing is really one button access. This is great if you want to access back loading docks where you just want to load one button, or even a front office where instead of having a phone there and the person has to figure out what they have to do, you can actually incorporate one with or without a video camera where they punch in and it can go directly to a person and actually set it off so that this phone can actually have an internal relay to open a door if necessary. Beyond this, we've also introduced a new series. I mentioned about a roadmap. Some of these samples will be showing up on our channels effective actually today. Some may already have them in stock. And we actually gone from a different style to look a little bit more contemporary, where on these two, the i61 and 62 is really our new series intercoms. The i61 actually has a touch screen where you can walk in and actually push the top, and that's a one solid screen. For those who prefer a button, we can move into the 62, which actually has a hard button, but both of them have sort of RFID cards. Something that's really new in terms of door access is that we have one here that has video camera incorporated here and has up to 5 different offices. This is great if you want to go into the MDU space or even a small office space that you have little, keys in to go ahead and access all these different people with video as well as card access to give you access. Then, of course, similar to what the slides that we had before, these are all going to be keyboard based, and we're going to actually show this here, but it's really under a new design that we're going to go ahead and roll out. And all of these new video access solutions will have cameras, and we'll be showing them for the first time in the ISC West conference that's coming up next month. So all these solutions are coming down, and this is where we're going to have moving forward, and we're going to introduce these things coming up in the next, within 2022. Okay. As I mentioned, on the indoor stations, we have these things that you can mount on a wall or go on a desk. We also have an Android version in case you want to do this on the Android platform. But in all these cases, we have something that actually has a touch screen with the i53 in case you want a touch screen to dial specific speed dials if you want to. But we have something very simple as well that can just give you straight speed dials here that you have all internal Wi-Fi access, and you can actually access all calls with this very simple interface. And it's great, not only in hospitals, but we found this to grow a lot of popularity in a lot of senior homes where people just want to have quick access to people in family or calling the nurses station, etc. This is a great access way to go without having to complicate things moving forward. And really, to sum it up, you can contact all distributors. We have what we call a test drive program where we've actually bundled a couple of these phones and these indoor stations and provide to you really what we consider a not for resale type of thing, where it gives you really a low cost, one-time purchase way of being able to procure these phones that you can test drive them and be able to see whether or not they work out before you go ahead and purchase more. And that's what we have moving forward. So feel free to contact Microcom or any of our channels to be able to go that, and we'll be happy to entertain you. This is just our contact support. You could reach me here at my local address, but as I mentioned earlier, we also have local tech support that's based in Americas as well, and you can contact them for local support. Then again, we also have our sites here that you can reach for support. So we're really here to really help your business become successful, and hopefully I'll be hearing back from you shortly. Julie, I think that's about it for all we have, and I'll pass the bridge back to you.
Thank you so much, Tommy, for that wonderful presentation, and thank you for showing that contact information as well. I've got some questions for you. Let's get started with the first one. Here we go. Regarding the chip shortages that everyone has been experiencing lately, is this going to hit Fanvil at all in the near future?
Well, yeah, I think everybody's been hit with the chip shortage. Frankly, a lot of the migration that we're doing to even our XUs series, what we're trying to do is to really move forward with these things and adopting these new chipsets, and then being able to introduce the new series. Take example for our V series, we've gone ahead and introduced that V series moving forward under the new chip brand sets that are relatively more available. Some of the things that Fanvil has done proactively ahead of the chipsets is being able to go ahead and provide what I would say really just good incentives for our vendors so that we could be placed high on top of the list and being able to provide the chipsets that we need in advance. A lot of it really, it also involves with you working with our distribution channel, letting them know what they need, and then they communicate to us on what we need to know as well, so that we can allocate these devices to them in advance. So yeah, it has hit us, but we're trying to make the allocation as invisible to everybody as possible. And what we do is that we try to go ahead and put in some plans. I don't want to give away our secrets, but we've done many things out of our norm to be able to create incentives for our vendors to really give us priority in giving us chipsets in advance.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Tommy. Next question here for you.
Yep.
Audience member is asking, does Fanvil also offer access points? Because, of course, there are your phones, door access, intercoms, and if I have APs, I could provide the all-in-one option managed on one cloud. Is that possible?
Yeah, I need to expand what you mean by access points. I guess when you say access points, are you talking about Wi-Fi access points? Or, I mean, most of the things that we have in terms of door access are all PoE driven, except for where we point them out. But in a lot of the indoor stations that we have, those are Wi-Fi access points. So I need to expand and really understand what the access point is a little bit further, what they mean by that.
Thank you, Tommy. I can get some follow up on that. Let's go to the next question. Regarding the Fanvil cloud system, I know you talked about it a little bit. Is there a monthly based service or is it free to access?
It's totally free to access. I would suggest you send me or Julie your contact information, your email, and we could send you a link which will enable any partner to access that link, and they can go ahead and through that provide remote redirection service as well as being able to provide device management systems as well. As you know, out there, many of the PBX platforms, some contain provisioning services, some don't. And in the case when they don't, you could use our device management systems to be able to deploy devices that are not listed, or be able to provide total provisioning on PBX platforms that don't have any provisioning. So really, it really is a mixed bag of shells. But one of the things I don't recommend for good business practices is to have two provisioning servers working in tandem, because if one provisioning services goes and realize that the other one changes, then the configuration of the phones may end up changing depending on which one decides to access the phone or the endpoint first. But to answer the question, we do that free of charge, by the way. We don't charge our partners for that. We feel we do that to really improve the productivity of our partners.
Excellent, Tommy. Thank you so much. Next question here for you. Regarding outdoor SIP door access, are all of them IP67 and waterproof?
Yes, in fact, the devices that I've shown on this slide is just a small snippet of all of the devices that we have. We have devices, if you look back on our website on what we call the I-Series, where you can go back in, we have things that are designed to be sitting in the middle of parking lots, in the middle of extreme cold or extreme hot weather, sun, snow, to really handle all of these external situations. It could be parking lots, it could be whatever you want to. So, the environment is a big factor in being able to decide what intercom system you want. And for those applications where it's sitting outside and subjected to all the different elements that Mother Nature throws, whether it's extreme heat or cold, we actually have a box that's been designed for extended temperature ranges as well as humidity to be able to tolerate those situations as well as direct rain.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Next question here for you. You mentioned the 2-year warranty. Does that include the H5 phones, specifically the ones with LED screens?
That is correct. In fact, even better than that, that warranty starts from when the integrator or the reseller, receives the product. Very often, our competitors may start warranties when the actual distributor gets it, and that typically sets the clock going. And the more it sits in the warehouse, you get to run into a funny gray zone. And what we do, we keep it very simple so that once you get it in your hands, that 2-year warranty starts. And yes, the H5 W or even all of our phones really have a baseline of 2-year warranty.
Thank you so much for that, Tommy. Next question here for you. Regarding the U series, will you be able to connect a third-party USB headset?
Oh, the V series? Yeah. Well,
Or XU,
yeah. The answer is yes. On the new V series, we actually have several different options. The new V series, we've actually upgraded the Bluetooth to be Bluetooth 5.0 compatible. So anything that is really Bluetooth 5.0 compatible would have no issues with it. In terms of having wired, there's really several options. You have a USB-based headset, or you could also have an EHS adapter that you can do to sort of adapt it to work with a lot of third-party DEC phones as well. So it really depends on what type of headset you're talking about. But yeah, in terms of wireless or wired headsets, we don't even have to be specific with just USB, but it'll have many of the different connectivity on it. But that's on a wireless platform. At least we've upgraded the Bluetooth to be Bluetooth 5.0 compatible.
Thank you so much for that, Tommy. A couple more questions here. Can a user choose to customize the phone's soft keys?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, with the function keys, you can actually program them to really do everything from not only just speed dials, but you can call them action URLs, where you can actually hook that up into a camera, and being able to see a camera image based on the push of a key. You can, publish one in your house and actually, assign an IP address to all these different keys, be able to push it and be able to see different functionality with it just by doing that. So yeah, the answer is yes. All of the function keys are customizable, as well as even the background on the screen. You can go ahead and upload a bitmap image of your company logo, and as the phone is sitting there, people will actually see a soft copy of their company logo on the screen, and be able to gain some brand name recognition on their company as well.
Excellent, Tommy, and that kind of rolls us right into this last question. Is there a minimum order to maybe custom colored phones? And you just mentioned personal logo on the screen, so that's fantastic as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of different ways that you can customize the phones. In other words, the customizing of the screen, that's something that you can do on your own. Once you gain access to the internals, you can upload whatever logo you want displayed on the phone. That's something that you can do, and actually some of our partners do free of charge, that they can do that. We do have an OEM type of arrangement where you can actually have your logo silk screened on the actual phone, and we have a model that requires basically a 200 minimum order quantity, where that's per model per order, so that if you wanted one model and you wanted to do that, that's something that we could entertain. And the thing is that we would provide a label that's also interchangeable with our phone, that will actually have your logo go where the Fanvil logo would go. So basically, Fanvil would be erased in that case, and your logo would be, in essence, screened on top of the actual display versus being on the display itself.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Last question here for you. Perhaps something we can find on your website, or you could tell us where we could find it. Is there a place to know where we can select compatible headsets for Fanvil phones?
Yeah, in fact, if you go to support, you should be able to go to support.com, or you can give myself or Hector a call. We actually have a list of headsets that you can use on our phones, whether they're wired, wireless, etc. We do have a list of compatible headsets. So contact us directly. I don't know if we should be publicized, but I just don't know where it is. But you could send me or my colleague a call, and we'll be more than happy to respond with that list, so that you can go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Tommy, for answering all of those questions for us today, and thank you to everyone for attending our webinar. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep, or you can email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, please visit us at www.microcom.us. And remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tommy. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye until next time.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.